So, a very unexpected thing is happening while the cross of unexpected is crawling to the sun earth. I'm recording this video late in the afternoon. It's almost getting dark here, so that's why the light is so weird. But the inspiration just came unexpectedly. So I decided to do it anyway, even though there's no light and I'm not at my best energy as I am in the mornings, but that's the beauty about just surrendering to what is and to the inspiration. So we're going to talk a little bit about the cross of the unexpected, but especially on the nourishment aspect of the 27th gate and everything that it brought to my unconscious abstract mind. After I had some interesting conversations this week about nourishment and motherhood, fatherhood, and bringing children to the world and so on. So we actually are going to, we already experienced the energy of the unexpected, of the 27th gate, the gate of nourishment, and the gate of the game player, these two gates that are part of the cross of the unexpected and the cross of alignment. Interesting combination, these two gates, you know, this gate, which is part of the defense circuit, yes, the gate of nourishment, and the other one, the individual gate, which is the gate of the game player, the gate of the risk taker, the fear of dying without fulfilling the purpose. And here is the connection to what I want to share with you about this caring stuff and nourishment stuff and motherhood, brotherhood stuff, fatherhood, sorry. This is a mental gate. It comes from the quarter of initiation, and it's about nourishing the mind and creating the values and the basis for the intelligence that comes from the 50th gate, which the root of all intelligence streams and awareness. And it's about, yes, it's part of the defense circuit. The defense circuit is the tribal inner circuit that talks about bringing children to the world. This is the channel of intimacy, the 59-6, and the channel of preservation, I think it's called, design of custodianship, which is the 27th, the gate of caring, connecting with the gate of values, the cauldron, these tribal values. Yes, we've been there just now in the cross of the laws, in the cross of wishes. And while this is actually, yes, the 27th gate is a part of this defense circuit, and it's about nourishing the young ones in order to give them to develop their basic intelligence in order to survive in life. Yes, that's what it's all about. And of course, it's about nourishing ourselves first, and it's basically about mental nourishment, yes, but it's of course in the sacral, so it comes from respond. What am I responding to that would nourish me, or what do I respond to nourish? And it's interesting to see that the defense circuit, and especially the gate of nourishment and the gate of dispersion, they come from the sacral energy. So if the sacral is open, this energy is not there consistently. And of course, we also have to emphasize that not every generator, by having a defined sacral, means that they can bring up children. I mean, as something that comes from their design. And this question about who is built mechanically to be a father or a mother is such a huge mindfuck. And I am using this word because there is a conflict between what we see on the body graph and what we would like to be or conditioned to. Here in Israel, for example, this family thing is such a huge conditioning. This is a huge conditioning. So I know that it's a conditioning everywhere, and there is this channel of community in the background frequency, but there are places which are more tribal, and Israel is conditioned very strongly to be very tribal, and there are certain streams in the Israeli society which are very, very tribal, and the family is like the highest value you can look at. So when somebody really feels that it's not in their nature to be a mother or father, this is a huge conflict with the global conditioning around. And it's a dilemma. It's a very interesting dilemma. And I know for myself, my experience was that physically it was very, very difficult for me to be a mother. And it's not about love or caring or the possibility to give or to guide. It's not about this. It's about the mechanics. And most of the people, they have a lot of difficulty in admitting that this thing is difficult for them. And the stories in the mind, the mental stories about fulfilling ourselves through being a mother or father, it's such a huge thing that many people just do it because they do it. And of course, many of them, I don't want to, to generalize because I can't know, but each of our design has its own way to respond, to accept an invitation, to set something in motion in the correct way for this specific design. And it's true that we are divided into 4 types and we have 4 strategies, but each person has their own individual strategy that comes from the type that they belong to and their specific design. And this is very, very deep. I mean, the more I meet people and the more I release the extreme way that I was and I still am looking at human design, I understand that there are subtleties, and these subtleties are so important. It's true that in the beginning we can't deal with subtleties. We need the generalization. We need to be strict. I mean, that's the way I see it. We need to be strict with our strategy in the general way in order to release a lot of conditionings, a lot of not self behavior and patterns. And when we get to a place which a lot of this has been released, then the subtleties are coming to the surface and we can dance our very individual dance with life, through our specific design. And if this thing about motherhood or fatherhood comes to our life in the correct way, then there it is, and there's no question about it. We don't need to mentally understand if we are built to it or not. I mean, we can if we understand the mechanics, and we don't take the mechanics personally. We can look at the chart and say, okay, probably this is not my game in life, or this is my game in life, in this life. But, and we are talking about also the gate of the gameplay, which is all about the fear to die without fulfilling our purpose. So there is this mixed ideas about what is the purpose. Am I imagining my purpose? Am I thinking about what I want because of my conditioning, and I want to be a mother, or I think this will be my fulfillment in life? Or am I letting life direct me and bring the things that are correct for me, and let my strategy and inner authority or decision-making process guide me through this? Is this correct for me? And this is, of course, not only about family and children, it's about everything. And the more we accept the surrender, the deep surrender to the limitation, and we just had the cross of the Maya in the air, which is about understanding the mechanics of the Maya. And then we had the cross of the laws that shows us that there are laws in this Maya. And these laws, one of the laws is the law of mutation, because the new comes from the old. The new emerges from the limitation. And it can emerge if we surrender to the limitation. If we fight it, we are never really in a position to grow from the mutation, to expand from this limitation. It's like the limitation is the ground on which or from which the new seeds can become plants. And I can feel it, because only now I can understand what Ra was saying about the lines belong to the not self, and that when we get to our Chiron and we live correctly, then the cross takes over and we just watch our mechanics and our geometry and our I forgot the word, this scenario we have, we know this mythology. Yes, our mythology just shows itself. It's not about us choosing, because it is already chosen. The mechanics and the driver, it's all there. And this is the stage on which the unexpected can take place and show us what is really correct for us, and through what we can fulfill ourselves, in order not to feel this fear of not fulfilling ourselves and fear of dying without fulfilling ourselves. So this is, it's a story. It's an unfolding, ongoing story that we can just surrender to it. And then we see, and if we have on our path being a mother or a father, this is great. And if we don't, we don't. And we can be caring and nourish others in so many ways, especially projectors, but not only. I can see it everywhere. People that have these qualities, the life takes these qualities and display them. You can't be a nourisher and not display it if you live correctly. And it doesn't matter if you display it through being a mother or father, or through being something else. It doesn't matter, because life wants you to blossom. Life wants you to show who you are. The program needs you to use who you are and to give what you are to others. So this is about our role and surrendering to who we are. And it really doesn't matter what's written there mentally. It has to be displayed. The mechanics need to be displayed, and it is being displayed when we surrender to it, and then it takes over. And then the unexpected is so much bigger, huger, as I like to say. It's huger than what our little willpower or imagination can bring, So this is this. I was inspired to share this from some conversations I had this week, and it's about really surrendering to the unexpected that comes from surrendering to our design. Now, of course, what we have this week is we have the channel of the brainwave. We have Mars and Jupiter, display the design of a design of awareness. This is the spleen connected to the throat in an individual channel. So we are going to have a lot of intuition in the air and a lot of melancholy. And of course, it lights up the 28th gate. So we are going to feel this purpose stuff, this risk-taking or not, this thing about purpose in the air very strongly, and it will have an expression in the throat. And of course, people with the 34th gate or the 10th gate are going to feel a little integrative. And more into the middle of our neutrino week, we are going to be also initiated by the moon that combines with Venus. And a lot of leaping into the void will happen if we take a risk. And let's hope that it was a correct risk. So that I took a risk by filming this, by recording this while it's getting dark. So I'm like being drawn into the void. So it's time to finish. So all I want to remind you is that when we are standing in life in a point which we were touched by the unexpected, we don't need to look for the answers outside. We have our type strategy, we have our inner authority or our decision-making process. We have the way that we protect our aura if our authority responds and accepts the invitation to do so. And of course, we nourish ourselves, or we respond to the correct nourishment that comes. And I just want to remind you that the nourishment that we get, this mental nourishment that we get from everywhere, is inspiration for us. We need to consider everything according to our strategy and authority, and to see if our inner authority approves of this nourishment, if this is the correct nourishment for us. And I'm talking not only about physical nourishment, of course, about everything, especially mental nourishment, because the inspiration is there and we can really get lost, especially the open head people, but not only, of course. We are all bombarded by inspiration, and we really need to let our body check and see if that's correct for us. So before I disappear completely into the void, I love you and see you. Bye-bye.